Well, homes and businesses, as well as prison, had to be evacuated. And today, people in Texas are getting ready for even more rain. Charlene Aaron has that story.
The floodwaters are still rising in the Lone Star State.
We've never seen it this high. And of course, everybody thinks I'm crazy for not leaving.
In Houston, this swollen river has overtaken several small communities, forcing many to flee their homes.
Thought we were going to be safe. I didn't know it was going to come up this fast.
In coastal Brazoria County, 2,600 inmates from 2 prisons were evacuated because of historic flooding. The heavy rains have been falling since Wednesday. At least 6 people have died in the flooding as record-breaking rains have swept away cars and damaged homes. Several people are missing. In Parker County, Texas, debris and rushing water hampered rescue efforts for a missing 10-year-old boy who fell into a river while fishing Sunday afternoon.
It's frustrating that we have the family here and they need some closure, and we haven't been able to give it to them yet.
In Kansas, much of the central region has been under a flash flood watch through the end of last week.
Thank God.
This twister touched down in Colorado, near the Nebraska border. And on the East Coast, from the Carolinas to New York, people are dealing with the aftermath of Tropical Storm Bonnie, which dumped 8 inches of rain in South Carolina, shutting down parts of busy I-95 on Memorial Day. Forecasters expect the severe weather to continue today for much of the central and northern plains, from Kansas to North Dakota. Charlene Aaron, CBN News.
Well, they talk about drought, but the drought is over. Well, in other news, this extremely unusual presidential election year could soon get even stronger.
Pat, talk of another presidential candidate has picked up steam in the last couple of days after conservative analyst Bill Kristol, the editor of the Weekly Standard, announced on Twitter that there will be an independent candidate, an impressive one, with a strong team and a real chance. Donald Trump fired back, saying the Republican Party has to be smart and strong if it wants to win in November. And he said, quote, "If dummy Bill Kristol actually does get a spoiler to run as an independent, say goodbye to the Supreme Court." Nobody knows who the third-party candidate might be. Some conservatives have opposed Trump because they don't feel he truly believes in their ideas, while others say a third-party candidate could split the Republican vote and lead to Hillary Clinton winning the election. Pat?
Again, Bill Kristol, he's just his day in the sun. I think his daddy was the great writer, and he's just kind of basking in his glory. But listen, it's too late to get candidates on the ballot in many, many, many states across the nation. So there wouldn't be a possibility, a snowball's chance in July of having some third-party candidate win. It couldn't happen. So that in itself is a chimera. But the problem is that we're dealing with is that this would siphon off just enough votes in a very close election to make sure that the Democrat won the election. Now, this fellow claims to be a conservative. What a joke. John?
Pat, Hillary Clinton could face a challenge of a different kind in November's election, the rising premiums from Obamacare. The Hill website reports that those premiums are expected to jump more sharply this year than in previous years, and Republicans are using that as a campaign issue. Trump and Senate Republicans have agreed that Obamacare increases could help Republicans in the election. Clinton has acknowledged that Obamacare prices are going up, but she still defends the law and its benefits. The parents of a 4-year-old boy who fell into a gorilla exhibit at the Cincinnati Zoo are thanking God for his safety. In a statement, they said, "We're so thankful to the Lord that our child is safe," and they added, "He is home and doing just fine." You can see what happened here. The boy fell into the zoo's gorilla enclosure and came face to face with a 400-pound silverback. After 10 minutes, during which the animal dragged the boy through the water, zookeepers shot and killed the gorilla. Some witnesses said the 17-year-old gorilla was protecting the boy. Animal activists have protested the zoo's decision and held a vigil for the gorilla over the weekend. But the zoo is defending its call.
That child's life was in danger. We stand by our decision. We make the same call today.
Jack Hanna, the director emeritus of the Columbus, Ohio Zoo, says it was the right call. And Pat, he believes the gorilla would have killed the boy.
Well, it was a tragedy, and I know there's a great sentiment for wildlife and the gorillas. Those silver-black gorillas are endangered. They were up in the Karunja National Park in Zaire, and poachers are shooting them, and some people are eating their flesh, and others are, selling off their parts. These are a beautiful species of creature, and we want to protect them, but at the same time, if it looks like one of them is going to kill a little baby, and there are people who say, oh, well, he was really trying to defend the little child, but I saw him pulling that kid back and forth through the water, and it didn't look like it. So Jack Hanna's an expert, and if he says, okay, they did the right thing, then I would go along with his opinion. Well, there's another tragedy in the news. A dear, dear friend of this ministry and of the nation has passed away, and John has that story.
That's right, Pat. Jan Crouch, the co-founder of the Trinity Broadcasting Network, has died. Doctors had been treating her at an Orlando area hospital after she suffered a stroke last Wednesday. Jan and her husband, Paul Crouch, partnered in the launch of TBN and its expansion around the world for over 40 years. Her family said in a statement, Jan Crouch loved many things, but most of all, she loved Jesus, and now has seen him face to face and has experienced his grace and fullness. She has taken a piece of our hearts with her, but it's so wonderful to know that Paul and Jan Crouch are together again in the arms of Jesus. Jan Crouch was 78. Pat, some terribly sad news to report.
Well, it is. She had a stroke before and was in failing health, and I think this is just a culmination of that illness. We're sorry to see it, but the thing is, people die, and that's part of it. It's life and then death, and that's the way we live. And none of us are going to live forever. So we live in eternity with the Lord. Well, we'll be right back with more of the 700 Club. We've got some very interesting guests about what's going on in our world, so don't miss it.